eyes and other friends' eyes to actually like know, okay, this is how things are. But like, for younger generations, I think it's on parents.
You are like the one before us,
Like
that come
The one
After
after
us.
us.
after
Yeah,
us,
But I
yeah.
after
also
us.
think we still have a role to play even with the younger generations, just in the sense that like the older ones are still like those ones are hard to convince, at least we're already starting these conversations. So as much as we're trying to influence like the males around us right now in our generation, we should also be impacting
pretty
those who are
hard.
younger,
It's pretty hard.
yeah, and also
Yeah.
like I feel like for us to make like at least differences or change or this whole evolution of mentality, I think men need to be proactive as well in this conversation. They need
Yeah.
to be willing to learn. Like she's giving examples of like her friends, and you also gave examples. They should want to learn these things. We shouldn't be the ones who are constantly trying to change things and make things different. Men should be active as much as women are if we're going to make actual change.
I think proactive is the word because at
Yeah.
least in my household, like my younger brothers, they do learn how to do things. They do know how to do things, but just because of the setting is really putting relax on them, they won't. Like if I tell my one of my younger brothers, "Oh, do this," he would just relax. Oh, like like why do I have to tell you do this? Like why don't you bring yourself? You see, oh, this should be done, and like because I found you there, so you already saw it before me. But only once I came is and told you is when you're gonna do it. Like he should be proactive on his own because he knows how to do it. Even if he doesn't, he knows he's capable of to
I
like
feel like,
at least come and ask me how to do it or something.
and I feel like it's the same thing, like what you're just saying, like in terms of marriage. Like even like a lot of friends, like right now, like as you said, and also I have, like they do know how to cook, they do know how to take care of themselves. But the fact that when they marry and they start dating and you guys are both living together, the whole mindset is gonna come back again. You're just going to say, oh no, she's my girlfriend, she's a woman, and she needs to get things done. I'm not gonna cook anymore because she cooks better, or she does better, or like she's supposed to take care of me as a man, and I'm supposed to take other duties, you know? So
Amira, you want to add something? I see your
Oh
sheet.
no, no, I'm just listening.
Okay,
Good.
and let's bring the conversation to another level. So,
He's
because
picking up a
there are a lot of people that are gonna say that, oh, that's not me, all those girls that have this mentality, it's because the Western culture is spoiling them. It's kind of a conflict where people believe that Western culture is fighting African culture.
That's
Where do
true.
you
It's
stand in
true.
that?
And I think the question that you actually asked previously kind of speaks to this already when you said like, is there like a Western conception of feminism that's different from an African conception? I would say definitely, because I feel like okay, most of us right now, right, like we're in a Western educational setting, and we're being exposed to Western influences and culture. So obviously, that's most of the things that we assimilate, and it's our first opportunity that we're coming out and we're really like, questioning things, and yeah, we're really trying to figure things out. But when you actually put things into context, the lived experiences that women have here and the challenges that they face in terms of like women empowerment are different from an African setting and context. And so I think slowly, as much as like we're being educated and we know these things, we need to start shifting, the Western conceptualizations to a more African context and understanding our own challenges. Because like for the most part, I think it is Western. It really is. Because also like okay like here it's another like huge debate back home about like the alambamiento.
Alabama.
Yeah, for us that's a very big and there's other things. Of course, I'm not saying I'm not trying to reduce it and say like it's only that, but like it's like should we pay dowry, and then there's a whole thing of culture like no, it's a form of appreciation to the girl's parents. But then there's also families who are extorting men, and they're like, hey, we are going to pay this much.
Yeah.
So you see, it's context. Context is also a big part of feminism and how we understand it.
and I feel like it's what he said, like it's a huge challenge. Because even like when we are just having these discussions and you guys were like explaining how you guys do feel when you want to like say it out loud what you think, it's just the whole thing of how back home they already think, oh, she's a new WC student. Oh,
She's the one that went abroad.
She
So you come from outside, bring your thing.
What happened to your culture?
Yeah.
Where you
Exactly.
forget? Where you're from?
You
went to the white man's country.
And like I think it's a big challenge, and I think I think I'm getting to a point that my parents do know, and even if we need to address certain conversations, they already know. Like Chelsea is gonna take a long way, in a way of like I got to the point that I cannot accept certain things. That's why like with the whole Alabamento thing, I realized just with my dad, I'm like I'm not a stupid gift. Sorry for the expression. I'm not a stupid gift. Like I'm a human being, and you can't do this like exchange because they're already like she's my first daughter, she's the one that is most important. Like I'm not gonna say I'm the favorite, but I do know that I'm the favorite.
So I'm not gonna say, but will I am.
But I am, because you can just feel it, you know what I mean? And the way your parents are into you, and that's my dad. That's my dad. So he's already like, this one, I'm not just giving you. You know what I mean?
Avoid that about me.
So I was just like, Dad,
No,
please.
from what you just said, you said something very important there. You said standing to them. Do you think that's the approach? Standing to them.
At some point it is.
And I do have a lot. I'm not like I do have a lot of problems at home because I think since I was a kid, even that's why my parents always assume I would go into politics because they even call me lawyer because even at home, if there's something that is happening, even if it's my friend, I'm gonna be the friend like no, like fighting for everyone, like so I'm even like in my friendship and myself, because if there's something wrong, I'm not gonna be the one faking it. I'm actually gonna tell you even if we're friends. It's just the way I am. You know what I mean?
So from your perspective, women should go hard and harder.
I mean,
fully
hard, but respectful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still your parents. They won't totally understand at the moment, but it's true that
With
when
more
you keep talking, it's
transparency
tiring
and
at
like
the same time,
discussing
yeah.
and actually pointing out our ideas clearly with respect, they will know understanding because even at home, like it's still like this whole barrier of how you like there's like my partner, let's say my mom, she's not open-minded, or like my sister, like the whole culture, you know. Even if there's certain situations at home, they will come and they will be like, you're the only one who can talk to your dad. Oh, he's gonna change if you talk to him. And I'm not. Sometimes I say like it's not like people do change when they talk to me or like they understand me better. It's just in a way of like you try to like find the right piece and actually approach and like share your ideas and say like I don't agree with that. I feel like things should be like that. That's what my dad always just say, like you always just like have an opinion. You always think like it should be like that. It should be like that. It shouldn't be like the way we just think. Like I got to a point that sometimes we cannot just accept and we need to question ourselves like what
I mean, the simple fact that your mom calls you, it means that she values your opinion, and they might not actually say by mouth that, oh yeah, what you say is true, but deep down they know that is
Yeah, that's my mom.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they didn't know, she wouldn't have called. So that's already one side.
And I feel like even it's more responsibility to me in a way, like because like I'm dealing with the whole stress here, and it's also stressful how I get a call 30 minutes from my mom. Like it sometimes it's even marriage problems, marriage issues, like what my dad is doing, and then she's like, he's not gonna change. Like you need to talk to him because you're the only one who can approach him. And actually, when I talk to him, she's like, yeah, now he's like more calm. He's not even like, people like you guys just understand. You guys just understand each other. You know what I mean? Like it's just the whole. Yeah.
So that I won't say that build up of like personality plus composure that you're talking about. Does it come from personality wise or does it come from education wise? So what I'm trying to say here, the more educated you get, the more empowered you feel. Or do you think there's no relation between those two?
There's
I think
strength
you
to
do.
knowledge.
I feel like it's like I feel like it's personality, and also I feel like it's education because I also have the sense of thinking like the more you are educated and the more you gain knowledge, you have also the tendency of becoming more ignorant because you know that you know like because you assume that you know too much. So I feel like it's in a way of like yes, you do are getting the education and getting knowledge and everything, but you kind of need to train yourself of learning also every day because you can't assume that you know everything and you need just to be able to be open-minded and always question even the things that you already know.
Yeah.
And I think,
Amira.
Okay, guys, so what I was saying, let me forget. Okay, you said education and all that. Like the more educated you are, the more open-minded you are, right? I think it depends on what you mean by education. If you mean having diplomas, is it what you mean by education?
Diplomas. What I mean is more of being exposed to those kind of environment where you can challenge other people's ideas in those traditional men settings. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
UWC, where you can challenge other people's ideas, does it give you the empowerment you need when you go home and stand in the middle of like a little crowd and make your voice and your point? Because I felt like there were drastic change in the way I behave from going to UWC to
Yeah.
when. So I was just wondering if this is something that ties into.
I think
So,
that's
but, so yeah, I think when you mean it's like getting more knowledge, because when it comes to education, my dad, he feels very educated because he has a doctorate, and back home a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm educated because I went to school and blah blah blah. And I mean, I will not talk for every country, but in my country a lot of people, we have diplomas and masters and even doctorate, but they are still not knowledgeable about anything. They just know about their classes, and they don't. I can have a discussion with people that are like 30 years older than me, but I know 10 times more than them. Not just because I went to UWC, because I'm knowledgeable, because I read, because I discuss with people, I want to know things. And they don't have that. They are not open minded from the very start. So I think is education is not really personality. You cannot be different from what they taught you and how your environment is. So it's like the system of education should change, and it's important
Exactly.
to
That's
travel.
gonna go.
Yeah.
What you're saying, I feel like you're saying that our education system failed to empower.
Oh yeah, definitely.
honestly, I think it feels to empower everyone.
Mhm.
No, honestly,
Yeah.
it feels like a very radical thing to say. And actually, I was doing a podcast on, what was that, Thursday? With
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday night with so there's this lady back home, she's a UWC alum, and she has this podcast, it's called African Woman. You guys should check it out. It's mainly about women, and she talks about like a broad range of stuff, like from motherhood, like relationships and all that stuff, what it means to be like contemporary woman. And like we were discussing education. And really, I personally, based on like the opportunity to go to UWC and then also schooling back home, there's a huge difference, very big. And it's not like they were just, because of course there's like co-ed schools back home, right? It's not like they'll say, oh, I'm going to teach this boy this only and this girl that. It's pretty much the same thing. It's one system, one curriculum. So you're all being exposed to the same thing. It's failed them. It's failed all of them, boys and girls. It's really just failed them for the fact that, like, how we go to UWC, you go there, like you said, you challenge people's ideas. And like she also said, you slowly start learning how to question even the things you learn, like being able to understand that what you know isn't the end it be it all. You're continuously learning. So that process of critical thinking, questioning things, it's just not there in the educational system. So in that sense, it's failed everyone, whether you're a girl, you're a boy, it's failed you.
Yeah.
I would actually.
Sorry, like going back to like whether this is like westernized that we put in into Africa, whatever. Like I think that question is really hard because like going back, first of all, we don't have that much of information or like culture of how we were before colonization. So bunch of the systems that are in place in our countries and all of those cultures, they are like kind of like scooped out like